I'm Rosie, I'm a textile conservator working for Historic Royal Palaces. I'm currently working on these blue satin side lacing boots worn by Queen Victoria, and they're a really exciting new acquisition for Historic Royal Palaces as they're quite rare. We only have one other pair of shoes worn by Queen Victoria in our collection of over 10,000 items of historic dress, and they're few and far between in other collections. So the proper right shoe has a maker's label inside which reads Gundry & Sons, which adds to the shoe's provenance, as Gundry & Sons were the principal shoemaker for Victoria throughout her reign. Prior to Victoria, they also made the shoes for William IV and George IV. So as you can see, each shoe possesses an area of damage to the silk at the sides, and this could be to do with the material makeup of the shoes. So the shoes are composed of silk satin on the outside and leather and starched cotton on the inside, and these materials move in different ways when the shoes are worn, and silk, being the weaker of these fabrics, is subject to damage. The treatment that I've gone with is to have a patch attached with thin strips of adhesive inside the shoe, and that's attached to the starched cotton leather. So when the viewer comes to the exhibition, they're not seeing the area of damage, they're seeing the object, and it's the object that's telling the story in this case, not the damage. So the adhesive I'm looking for with my testing is one that is strong, transparent, as it's going to be over the top of the shoe, has good ageing properties, acceptable health and safety risks for me to use, and is removable or reversible. It also needs to be able to be applied dry and reactivated with a low heat, so not to have any adverse effects on the leather inside the shoe. So the first patch underneath is visual infill, and then we've got a patch of transparent silk crepeline which is impregnated with a very light adhesive over the top, and that's doing the supporting of the silk, preventing any further structural damage or loss. So in conservation, we're governed by a code of ethics. For example, we want our treatments to be as reversible as possible, so we're not making permanent changes to objects of such historical significance such as Victoria's shoes. So these shoes are particularly special, not only because of their rarity, but because they showcase Victoria's preferred palette for pastel colours from early on in her reign, rather than the swathes of black for which she is well known. It's such a privilege to work so closely with such incredible objects, such as these Victoria shoes, and aid their longevity both for enjoyment now and for future generations, and help interpret Victoria's life and passions.